Welcome to this installment of Creative Cabin Fever. On tonight's show, we have the incredible guests, Blackbird and Crow. I am super excited because I've been a captive fan. I recently discovered them actually by pure accident. Over the last few months, a few friends of mine have been saying, listen to them, but I feel huge, massive pressure when someone says, listen to this band, you'll love them, because just on the off chance I might not like them, and then I just usually go, yeah, they were great, because I'm too scared to actually try it out. So in this instance, the Spotify algorithm worked towards me. I've been trying to really listen out for new Irish acts in the last few weeks, and you guys came on. So introduce yourselves.
Well, go on, Stephen. It's always me talks
hello
first.
There. We are Blackbird and Crow. I'm Stephen, and this is Moyed. And we've been on the go about 5 years-ish.
Six.
Closer to six. Yeah.
I like to exaggerate as well. I'd push for 7.
We've been on the go for 10 years. And we had an album out there at the end of January, just right at the cusp of when all of this was hitting, actually, which was really, really annoying. Our first album came out in 2017, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes. Yep. It was. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's our introduction to ourselves.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Sorry. You just said so. Just before we started, we were told to be very, very careful, not to be like cutting over. And basically, since this began, I've just been cutting over Stephen. And now I'm cutting over you as well. I'm sorry. I'm going to shut up now.
But when the camera's on you guys, it doesn't jump between you, so you can cut over each other all you want. That adds to the fun. It's just when it goes from me to you, then it's a bit more problematic for the viewers.
Okay, so I can cut over you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, like for the last 2 weeks, I'd say I have pretty much listened to nothing but you guys.
Really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So are we like your lockdown jam?
You are my lockdown jam.
Cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I love when that happens because I'm a bit obsessive about bands. So if I really fall in love with a band, I'll absolutely lose days of my life to them. Is there anyone that's taken over your captivity at the moment?
For me, over the last maybe 4 or 5 days, I stumbled on, and I had heard of them before, but it was the incredible string band. They've been going since like the 60s or whatever, But I've been listening to them non-stop pretty much over the last 4 or 5 days.
You haven't sent me any of these?
Yes, I must send you some stuff because I have some great stuff. Yeah.
Cool. I think I'm going to rhyme off a load of bands. So I think they're all Donegal bands. But at the moment, everybody's live streaming. So what's coming up on your feed tends to be like what you're kind of, what I'm locking onto at the moment. I would start with Dirty Faces. They're a Derry band. They are so freaking good. Am I allowed to curse on this?
Yes.
Okay, because I wanted to say they're so fucking good, and I stopped myself just in case. Dirty Faces are from Derry. They released a single very recently, but they are my jam. Like even before lockdown, I was kind of using them when we like gig after gig. Sometimes people can be very some people, like young fellas mostly, that want to get in my pants. They tend to be very on me. And I found like a way of dealing with this. Now, there's other people, like, it's grand. No, not everybody's like that. But I found that like holding my phone up to my ear and just playing music really loudly and singing along like really loudly to really kind of loud lyrics. Dirty Faces are almost like trashy in a way. And singing really loudly in the bar in front of everybody. They're too embarrassed, really. They kind of leave you alone.
They do, yeah.
At that point.
It's like wearing a pair of sunglasses.
So there's a
the musical form.
Yeah, it is. It's like wearing sunglasses. Although it's a bit more invasive to everybody else.
Yeah.
I'm not disappearing. I'm right there, and I'm embarrassing you. So I would play Dirty Faces, Fat White Families. It's not their last single, but the one before that. And I'd have that blaring in my ear and just on repeat, on repeat, on repeat. And it's fought off many's a bollocks. And what other lockdown jams? Little John Lee. He's amazing as well. Every Thursday night he does a Facebook Live at 8 p.m. every Thursday at 8 p.m. Check him out. He is gorgeous. He's a gorgeous punk from Donegal, isn't he? Well, I think Scottish accent though, but so it's Scotland's in there somewhere, I think.
But he
anyway,
lives here anyway. Yeah.
Doesn't even matter. Gorgeous punk, amazing performer. The Poxmen. So the song of Pox on You. Oh, there's a link there. The video for Pox on You was done by the lead singer in the Poxmen. Poxmen I've been obsessed with for years. They're amazing. Like in a very quite unhealthy way actually at times.
Maybe obsessive, yeah. But it's good.
I feel so much resonance for you as a human being. It makes so much sense that your music and your voice is exactly why we're having this interview. That thing with the loud music so people don't come up to you, I have my very own tactic. I call it tree frogging. It's where I wear really bright colors and act a little bit special so I get away from all the predators because they're too scared to come near me. So it works really well. I just act a little bit too extra so everyone's like, oh, she's mental. And it works because they stay well away from me and I'm safe as a house.
Oh, that is amazing. God, we are like that. We're connecting straight away. That's amazing. If I saw you, I'd be the type of person that would be like, okay, I'm intrigued. I need to get to know this lady. She knows things that I know that other people don't know. I'm just trying to think of other bands because I think it is really important at the moment to kind of plug the other local bands. Like we're all on our asses at the moment, so any opportunity to plug bands I think is really, really important.
Owlboy is a great band from Donegal and doing some really, really cool stuff. They had an EP out when it was last month, was it?
Yes, it's very recently that they've been releasing new music as well.
Just on the cusp of this thing too, you know.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure they're feeling the brunt of it like everybody is, you know. And so they came out with that in late kind of January, and Owlboy are class.
Yeah.
Check them out for sure.
Yeah, and just to cast the net beyond Donegal, I have one other person that I can't mention bands without mentioning him. I think he's fucking glorious. Jinx Lennon. Have you heard of Jinx Lennon?
Jinx Lennon's
Oh, he's fucking amazing. Look up a song called Forgive the Cunts by Jinx Lennon. I mean, it's amazing. He's amazing. He has loads of great songs. A new album out recently as well. Okay, I think that's me. You asked me to plug bands. I'm just like, my file of facts and bands in my head.
That was done so flawlessly. Like, I have trouble. Like, I'm like, what bands? And then I think of them afterwards and I'm like, crap.
Yeah.
It's tough. Yeah, no, that sounds really, really amazing. And I love the fact that you're really, really pro Donegal in the area because you're right. At the moment, like, let's say you guys are from Dublin, right? You wouldn't have that need to plug other people because everyone in Dublin knows everyone in Dublin. But the fact that you're outside of that, which is one of the other reasons I'm trying to get for bands that are like in special places and that are special. Because I kind of want to build a network where everyone gets to know everyone and everyone has more chances of actually being seen. Because we don't have the same chances. Like Waterford is often the forgotten city. There's so much talent here and nobody knows about it. After our interview, I'm going to send you on a few bands from down here that I think you should check out, not to be boring people from home with the interview. But yeah, I'm so happy that we're having this conversation and I get to discover more new music during this lockdown time. So one of the things I like most about you, Mairead, is the fact that you're not scared to use your Irish accent. I think it's probably the most beautiful quality about your music, to me anyway. It's why it resonated so strongly. So how do you feel about that? Was that a brave choice for you or is that just a natural instinct?
That was a little bit of a journey. I mean, I have always been somebody who takes an allergic reaction, like, and just when people are talking. So like, there'll be people that grew up maybe across the road from me in a place called Derryconnor in Garderhawk where it's just fucking sheep and bushes. What do you call that? Yeah, those yellow bushes.
Oh, the
gorse.
wind bushes and old stone houses, and honest to God, that really is where I grew up. Rocks, like we used to play on the big rock. The big rock was like a landmark in our area. The big rock and the phone box. The phone
Rock
box
on
was
the rock.
this magical device down at the bottom of a road. Nobody really knew what it was for. But I'll meet somebody who's like grew up on the other side of my wall, and all of a sudden they're talking about back in Ireland, and that does my head in. Or people who grew up down the road and they went to Dublin and they're going around with this accent that they sound like they are from D4, and they went to Trinity, and it's just like, I don't know, we all have our prejudices. This is one of mine. So I'm very proud of my thick Donegal accent, very proud of it. So there's that. And then there was a kind of a musical journey as well, where I was going out with this guy, and it was during the writing of the first album, and I was going out with this guy who was mad into his rebel songs. He used to do these gigs and they'd be all like rebel tunes, like "Go On Home, You British Soldiers," like on a Saturday night. And just Irish ballady music as well. And I went to write a song for him about him, and I was thinking, well, this has to be a very kind of a ballady tune. And I kind of accidentally fell into this zone in my own voice where I was just like, oh, that's really me now. Like, that's meer than I've ever made.
That's my voice coming out.
Yeah, in singing, you know, I've always been proud of it in speech, but I kind of fell into it. So just in those moments, I managed to accidentally unlearn all this shite of like leaning into an American accent, or, you know, like in those moments, I fell in love with my own voice, and that was that. That was Shan gave me that, really, with that
was
song.
the writing of Blackbird.
That was the writing of Blackbird.
So it never made it on to the first album, but it made it on to the second. Yeah.
Yes, it made it, but that was the first. That was it. That was the first seeds that were kind of sown there, and I don't think I'll ever go back. I think once you find those wee bits of yourself, there is no going back.
You
really.
would sound weird if you weren't singing.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
You know, it would be strange.
It's funny. It's such a common thing as well. It's so common that it's kind of like, if you're not schooled or not listening to people who make that serious effort to sing in their own voice, you hear so much of that Americanized stuff that it's very hard not to fall into it, fall into that trap. Anyway, that's a very long-winded answer now. We're going to be days.
The perfect answer, and you're completely right. Once you grow to the place where you're actually strong and positive in who you are, you cannot go back. You know, what I find really interesting is obviously you and Stephen, a two-piece, and you make so much noise, that would be completely impossible without your guitar skills. So talk to us about that.
So I tune my guitar to open E and turn it up really loud and just hit it really hard, and that's it. No, no. So the two-piece thing just came out of myself and Wade. Just got together, started to write tunes, and I had a bouzouki as well, and stomp box, and I had a couple of guitars, and that's just the way that we started to write. Really, you know, it was what was the first tune we wrote? It was "I Gave Away My Home." It was on the first album, and it just kind of went from there. We were influenced at the time by the likes of C60 Eve with the electric guitar and the stomp box as well, you know. So it was that kind of a vibe that we were going for, and then of course with any kind of a journey with anybody, it starts to morph into different things. So, but that's kind of where the two-piece thing came from. Really, was just playing the guitar loud and hitting a box, and why are they going mad?
I think I also remember saying to Stephen, like, keep it simple. We're going to keep this really simple, and we're going to build on it, because we haven't a fucking clue what we're doing. So if you look at like other businesses, what they do on a practical level is they start small. What in the name of God? Sorry, my cooker fan has just gone off there. Don't bash it, Stephen. There you go. Leave it.
Everything is okay. That was strange. It was like somebody was about to do a fry there. Anyway.
But yeah, I used to always say, like I used to say in the beginning, you're going to make less mistakes the simpler you start and the smaller you start. If you start huge now and we don't have a clue what we're doing, we're going to fall on our asses very quick. But I think that really worked. We kept it very simple, just the two of us, and kept it small and simple. And actually, growing it is a very, I don't know, it was quite a complicated thing. We tried the band thing after about 2 years, was it?
Yeah, about 2 years. Yeah, it's just it's hard to There's a kind of an energy that comes with it just being the two of us, and it's hard to kind of integrate anybody else into that, I suppose, because we've just been doing it that long, like that way, that long, that it's kind of hard to it's hard to kind of add things and stuff like that.
Stephen's being very nice. Stephen could go off into a 9-piece band tomorrow and get on absolutely brilliantly with everybody and just mingle, and it would all go well. Add one more person to the mix with me. I just, God, I don't know. I call it my musical autism. Or fire in the head.
Fire in the head is a common one. Yeah, it is. It is.
Or like band practice, songwriting.
Yeah. It's like the scene. It's like the scene from Father Ted, when Father Ted and Dougal are trying to write the song about the horse. And just play the fucking note, Dougal.
I can be extremely difficult to work with.
You're not though, like that's just a part of the process.
This guy. I really can be. I think it's just, I get very, very frustrated because I was never like trained in anything. I can play a few chords myself. I'd say about 7 tops. I can play I can piss around with the piano enough to write a song, and the same with the guitar, just like enough to write a song. So then I hand it over to Stephen, and then Stephen is supposed to do what's in my head with it, so I can get the bones of it out there. But Stephen, then his job is to make it everything that I wished it to be, because I can't do it.
Sprinkle a wee bit of fairy dust on it. There you go.
And then the process of me getting it out here and to Stephen, and you know what I mean, out of my head into Stephen's head, and then out through the guitar, that's a really frustrating, difficult process. Go on, admit it. Go on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is.
We have had some hard times.
And then there's other songs then that come really easy, like Moregan, but you wrote the music for Moregan, so that makes sense. And the ways that I can make you suffer, but then there's only one fucking chord in that, so that makes sense.
Well, there's 2 chords actually, C and F, I think.
But yeah.
Having interviewed bands, like I've interviewed a good few 2-pieces, I actually have a real fondness for 2-pieces. Like my 3rd favorite band of all time is actually Death from Above. So I love the idea of being able to create so much by 2 people. And you would be the 3rd 2-piece band that I've spoken to who have said it's just simply easier. Like that simplicity actually is what makes it so complex, because for what you have to create, you have to merge on a deeper level. But the fact that there's less people involved, like it's like too many cooks spoil the broth, you're able to get exactly the essence of what both of you is, which is very hard to accomplish in, let's say, a 6-piece band or a 7-piece band. So more power to you. What you're making is truly magic. I, especially from a personal point of view, really like the 2nd album in the fact that you're using kind of old time stories to explain modern day tales. And if it's looked at that way, and that's definitely the way I perceive it anyway, perhaps I'm wrong and my interpretation is off, but I really love the message and everything about it, because female empowerment is something that not many people touch on. They're not brave enough to, or if they do, they don't do it in a classical way that allows interpretation and growth. And the way you're doing it is just so powerful to me. So talk to me about that. I didn't put that in the questions because that just came to me.
Oh, lovely. Well, I think I never really set out to write an album about female empowerment. And it doesn't surprise me that this is the way that my journey of empowerment has manifested, because the people that I would admire, like I would say a great example of female empowerment would be Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor doesn't do any interviews where she says, oh, I'm a feminist, or she doesn't do any interviews where she talks about how difficult it is to be in a man's world, to be playing a man's game. No, she doesn't. She boxes the fucking head off men. And she is, like, when she's sparring, and when it comes to the game that she plays, she just gets the fuck on with it and excels. And that in itself is really, really inspiring. And I never really set out to write anything that was there to empower women, but I got the hell on with it. And never really, there's no kind of, I can't think of anywhere along the way where any man has stood in my way and that he hasn't been left on his ass. Like, men definitely have stood in my way, but they're long gone. Like, I'd say they've been crying into their cornflakes for a long time.
Quite some time.
And that in itself is going to be inspiring. But it's very genuine. It's very my journey is real. I ain't just writing about it. This shit is real.
No, that's incredible. It's really incredible, and like, I just resonate so strongly with a lot of it, and I understand it in my own way, which is the beauty of music, because whatever you put out there is whatever you put out there. Like, I could write a song in the morning about a bowl of cornflakes I'm eating, and some cunt down the road would think it was about my ex-boyfriend's hair. It doesn't really matter, you know what I mean? Whatever you do is whatever you do. But I really, really, truly, like, it's surreal a bit, because I've literally just heard your music and fallen in love, and now I'm getting to know you, and I'm genuinely delving deeper into why you're so special, and it's truly a great thing to be able to do. So thank you. In captivity, have you discovered new things about your creative process? Because a lot of people have discovered maybe that their creative process wasn't what they believed, or they've been able to change things up a bit. How are you guys finding that?
The creative process. Well, you see, like, when it comes to writing tunes and stuff like that, anyway, it was always it has interrupted things in a way, and it hasn't. But it's like, so Mariad might have some lyrics and stuff, and I might have like a guitar piece, and then we would come together and we would stick them together, and there would be a song. Where it has halted things is the two of us in the same room coming up with things at the same time, you know.
Mm.
But we're still tipping away, doing stuff ourselves separately anyway, you know. Like, I'm always coming up with little snippets of stuff. Like, my phone has hundreds of wee riffs and things that, oh yeah, cool, I think I'm gonna save that for later because there might be a song in it or something, you know. So yeah, so it has halted it, and it hasn't. We're still being creative, I guess, you know.
Yeah, well, you did the music first, like, Stephen's been doing, like, maybe some we've both been doing separate projects. I did a bit of recital on a poem about Donegal that is
right.
Stay the Fuck Away is the name of the poem. It's really, really cool. Written by a guy called Stephen Crane from Owl Era. Stephen did bouzouki music over that piece as well. I'll send it on to you, actually. It's really funny.
Yeah,
it's
cool.
really cool. And then I've been a friend of mine, Nigel Hegarty, who did like a punk EP, 4 songs in 4 days.
Yeah.
I had a wee rant about what's wrong with the world, which was like put over his music as well, included on that EP. So I've been doing that. And then for like different stuff, there's this idea that I've had for ages. Oh God. And I think during lockdown is when it's actually going to happen, where I've wanted to I've got like a piano in my living room, and I also wanted to sit at the piano. Well, I used to do this anyway a lot, where I'd sit with just maybe 1 or 2 keys and just press. The Ways That I Can Make You Suffer is another example of this, except it's on a harmonium where stuff just spills out of me. But I wanted to just mess around with the piano and like leave myself recording for whatever amount of time I was at the piano. Sometimes it's an hour, sometimes it's 2 hours, and just leave myself running and like during those times when I sit at the piano, I'll have like bawled my eyes out crying, laughed my head off at like what the hell just came out of your mouth, and then I'll let it giggle out. And I even got up from the piano one time. I went to sleep after like drinking too much wine and doing this with the piano. And I got up in the morning and I looked in the mirror and I had 2 tracks of piano keys on my head where I'd been headbutting the piano and crying. But I would love to capture all of that in a recording and then release it. People would just like, oh my God, if they heard what goes on in my living room when I'm doing that, they'd be like, she is crackers. So I was kind of thinking of maybe doing that as well.
Concept album of one big long hour song of you just going up and down the 3 phases. That's a lovely idea.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah.
I think it's a brilliant idea. I think there's no other way to get the music out there, to be honest. Just go with what your soul is telling you. That's brilliant. That's amazing. Yeah. Captivity in a completely different form that's just allowing your madness to go out. And you're absolutely right. The neighbours wouldn't even really notice, to be honest, Marie, because they'd be too busy being crackers themselves.
Yeah, exactly. I was thinking about this as well. Like, so we're all in isolation. Now is the time to do, if you have any ideas, now's the time to do them. Because if you think about it, people who are being tortured, people who are have done wrong in prison and they're being punished, isolation is used to make people's heads go. So like, it's going to be an interesting year, even just to like, I'd love to be studying anthropology right now, because now would be the year to be fucking watching people and seeing where all this is going to go. And my neighbours, by the way, like honestly, I'd say they'd be delighted if I started playing piano, because usually at the moment I have like dubstep playing really loudly on my fucking Sony soundbar, blaring. I'd say I'm lifting them all off the ground. They're all vibrating as I work out.
Oh God, he's at it again.
So they'd be only too fucking happy to hear me sit down to the piano.
It's funny that you mentioned Nigel, because obviously he'll be one of my guests next week, and I'll be talking about the 4-track EP as well, because I know him from years ago. So that's great. I'll be back up your neck of the woods as well. One of the questions I love to ask artists, because I believe it's your gateway drug into the rock and roll industry, what was the first song you fell in love with?
For me, I think it was 7 Spanish Angels, that version by Willie Nelson and Ray Charles. And I don't think that was the first version I heard. I think the first version of that song I heard was probably Dad singing it, I think. And I remember singing it a lot when I was like 10 or, just whenever I hear it, I just go straight back, and it's a really, really cool song.
Yeah. Mine, I think, would be another country song. Like, we both grew up kind of listening to country music. Must have been a thing with the old ones in God of War. Because both our parents listened to a lot of country music, American country. Good stuff, though, but it was the good stuff, a thing called Love, I think it's called, by Johnny Cash. And I used to, so my happiest memories of my father, which I don't talk about too often. One of my happiest memories with my father would have been, he used to drive to Dublin at like 6 o'clock. We'd leave at 6 o'clock in the morning, and he'd have like a plastic bag full of tapes. And it was all country music, but I used to I'd see him putting on the Johnny Cash tape, and I'd be like, yes. So he used to do like runs to Dublin doing deliveries. That's what he was doing. And we'd go up and down in the same day. And that was my favourite song on the tape. I was very young at that point, and A Thing Called Love is just about this big man who can be taken down to his knees by love. And I used to think that was hopefully my father. I don't know if that's true, but I do love the song.
It's a great tune.
Thank you. They were both really good memories. A lot of people find that question hard to answer, because a lot of people might see the soundtrack of their lives in chapters. Like, I like to watch my whole entire life as a soundtrack. So the first song you fall in love with can mean different things to different people. So it's always an interesting question to watch answered. So thank you. Now, obviously, we're all waiting for captivity to end, right? Can you tell me some memorable gigs that you've either been to or played, and why the memories of those gigs are so important? Because I just want to remind people out there of what it was like.
Do you have an answer? Because I have one. I have a burning answer. Let me answer.
What it was like in the days before.
We were actually spoiled with our last gig before lockdown. It was out in Sandino's in Derry.
Oh, that was great.
God. And it was a room full of empowered women and the LGBT community. My God, we got down and dirty that night. It was amazing. And there was a few things about it that were, so I was wrecked beforehand because we had been in Cork the night previous.
That's right.
We drove to Cork the day previous, wasn't it? And then we did the gig that night, and then we went on the fucking razzle dazzle that night.
That was a bad idea, but
it was fucking great.
It was class.
Still talking about it.
Yeah.
We had a great night in Cork, and then the next day Stephen drove back from Cork, and we just, oh Jesus Christ Almighty, like I was a mess. I was a lot worse than you, I think. When Sandino's, I'm like there with my beer backstage, and the one who had booked us is just like,
"Are you okay?
You okay?" I'm like, oh yeah.
Trying to give her a pep talk and stuff like that.
Yeah, you're going to be great. You're going to be great. So we went out, and I don't know whether it was adrenaline just feeding off that crowd as well. It was actually an amazing gig. At one point, like I'm like sitting down, and everybody that was like there was all sitting down as well, and we were like so engaged with each other. I love that, where I feel like pouring out of here, and then it's going out, and it's coming right back in, and it's just like, oh, it's so good. Yeah. So we had one of those gigs. That was the last gig, and I can't wait to gig again.
It is the thing I missed most. It's just about that figure of eight that happens between us playing.
Give me my heroin.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's like our version of chasing the dragon.
Yeah, I know.
And I feel it like I'm on a constant flow now. Like, I mean, I got a steel tongue drum today in the post.
Ooh.
Like, yeah, so I'll be like you. I'll be like bashing my head off it to get sounds. I can't wait. But the reason I got it is because Sunstroke was cancelled, and all of a sudden I was getting all this money back for all these broken dreams. Right? It's like, how do I fix this? Okay, I've always wanted one, so I'm just going to buy one. And here we are. Handmade, custom-made drum. Because I was losing my mind. Like, I miss music so much, I can't. Human interaction. This is why this is invented, you know?
Yeah. I've got some serious packages landing as well. I'm still working, actually. I'm still doing my day job, which is... It's children's residential care.
On the front line.
So I'd be considered a frontline worker. Now, I would say as frontline workers, I don't deserve any clapping or anything like that.
You're a hero.
I'm definitely not one of those like hospital staff who's really putting themselves in massive danger for the sake of the rest of us. So I'm not one of those, but I am still working, and so I'm making money and have nothing to do with it really at the moment. I'm buying the biggest pile of shit online. I spent like 30 quid on keto vegan chocolate mints. I thought I was going to get like this big box, fucking 5 tiny packets of fucking mints. Trainers, really expensive face cream. Don't ask me what that's about. A massive tent, but that's being returned to me because it was out of stock. So I'm now going to have like another fucking shitload of money to just waste on other shit. I don't know. It's not bad. Like when you think about it.
I think I've spent the guts of. I would say I've definitely over the last 3 or 4 weeks spent the guts of €200 on woodworking tools.
Fucking tools.
Dovetail saws, and marking gauges and stuff. But yeah, that's kind of what I do in captivity as well. I like to chip away and stuff like
Making and doing.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
Bits and bobs.
It's all over Instagram. Instagram's like
thing, isn't it? Oh yeah, the chair,
the dovetails.
chair, yeah, that's right. the chair. I made, yeah, that was cool. I got a chair out of an old Suzuki Samurai and stuck the bottom of an old office chair to it, and now I have the best chair in the world because it's a car seat. It's so comfortable. Yeah.
Very
So
cool.
doing really useful stuff, I think.
We're sounding so about lockdown.
Yeah, you guys are slaying it. Like, I think, we're all doing our best, but you guys are slaying it. I have a whole house needs fixing, Stephen, should you ever be down this end of the country.
I
remember when lockdown started, I was like, fuck yes, this is my time. I've been preparing for this my whole fucking adult life. I hate people. I can do this. No, I really don't hate people, but I do close myself off a lot. Stephen's very, very, very used to that as well.
Yeah. I like my me time.
Yeah, we're both very big fans of our me time. But I have to say, I don't know, at the same stage, it is starting to make me a little cray-cray.
This is too much, yeah.
It's too much. I miss the live gigs and hugs. Started going out for walks, and I've made friends with this horse that just stares at me really intensely for long periods of time. And I just stare at him.
I don't know why that's funny.
We just stare at each other, and it's the most intense eye contact that I've gotten in a long time. So I'm just like, I really like that horse. I need that eye contact.
Yeah.
I'm a complete extrovert, so this is really difficult for me. Like, I'm also a stand-up comedian in a different edge of my life. So I like to make jokes, and then like the second week of captivity, I made a joke that I would go out to the bin dressed up a little better than usual just in case I bump into someone. And the very next day I walked past my friend's bin and he invited me in for coffee. And I was like, bins are definitely the new hangout, you know what I mean? That whole thing about the horse, right? I miss people so much. So I have a cat and a dog and a son. So my son goes away for 4 days a week and then I get him back. We kind of do 4 days on, 4 days off so I can work. And my cat and my dog, they are my universe. Like, I miss hugs so much. It's gotten to the point where I'm not getting enough attention, so I'm changing my profile picture on Facebook every day just to get a few likes.
Yeah, totally get that. I think I've been getting that release of needing that kind of attention from the fucking horse. I still every day. So every day that I'm in the area where it's at my work, I can go out for a walk and the horse is close by. I'm going out to see this horse. It's pretty fucking weird, actually, when you think about it.
No, it's like, you can connect with anything. I think you
can connect with anything.
I think you can connect with an animal as much as you can.
You can connect with an animal, so like. We all have different kind of animals that resonate most with us. One of the funny things about your name even is my grandmother always told me a story about two crows that minded me when I was younger. One was called Jackie and one was Nellie, and she used to say that they followed me everywhere and that they would go back and tell her stories about how my day went, and she'd know how if I was being good or if I was being bold. And to this day, anytime I see crows, I'm like, okay.
That's amazing. That's a really cool granny.
Yeah.
What a cool story.
That is a cool story.
I kind of feel like I want to nick that and use it. Whenever I have grandchildren, I'm definitely remembering note to self on the two crows. Even make it a blackbird and a crow.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool. Yeah. And then when that grandchild finds out who the band are, they're like, oh, that's my granny.
I was actually wondering where it came from. So, because she died 2 years ago, unfortunately, so I never get to ask her, and she was quite sick for quite some time, so she kind of started losing her ability to remember things. But she had dementia. She wasn't stupid. But I never got to ask her where that story came from. So I don't know if it's someone told her the story and they took it on and made a mental tick, or was it something her grandmother told her, or was it a family thing? Because it's just now that I have a kid, I get it. I'm like, okay, those crows, they are handy right now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there is that kind of level of, there's something watching you.
Yeah. them in line, you know.
There's an eye on you when I'm not around, little dipper. Yeah.
Yeah, totally get that. Yeah, it's cool.
So one of the last questions I'll ask you before I leave you go, and again, thank you so much for everything, is is the first thing you're going to do when you leave lockdown? Obviously, outside of loving your horse.
Riding.
I love you so much, Mairead.
I'm telling you, I'm getting all the riding done. I had so many offers of riding and I didn't take them. But I'll know better the next time. That's not true. That's not true. I'm not actually going to do that. I'm not going to go riding all around me. There's actually one person in particular, and I'm mad for riding him, and I'll just do that a lot.
I'm going to have a burger in a restaurant, or I'm actually going to. I haven't had a pint of Guinness out of a bar in ages. It's been too long, so I'm probably going to do that as well. Can't wait to gig live again too once all this is fucking over.
Yeah. What else?
What else?
What else? See, like honestly, the first thing that came into my head was writing, and I can't think of anything else now.
Yeah, your head is occupied.
You are what I call distracted. I've made a word of
it. I'm distracted.
God, I have a friend that I was talking to recently, and they were saying like, God, you know, I had so many offers before lockdown, and I was like, you know, like being real fussy, and he's like, I fucking should have taken them. Like this has given me perspective. I think everybody though is incredibly randy. Since lockdown, maybe it's just me. I've had some of the sexiest dreams. Everybody I talk to is like having like really like almost seedy sexy dreams as well. It's just like, wow, where that came to you in your head. But friends as well are like the same, where they're just like, yeah, I know, this is really weird. So I don't know, is that isolation, or are we always feeling like that, but we just can't act on it now?
When you're on your own.
I think a lot of it has to do with isolation. On the other side of that, I'm the complete opposite. I cannot wait to continue my journey as a monk. It's like I've realized I really truly need nobody, and the only person that was ever stopping me was me, and all I ever did when I was with someone else was push them forward, so no more.
Yeah, fucking I can relate to that.
Absolutely.
But like you can, you know, at the moment I'm kind of like half not seeing someone who like will never live together, will never see each other more than once a fortnight, I'd say. There's no coming together really, as in our lives merging. For you know, it's for the like what you're saying. I'm not propelling somebody else forward any fucking more anyway, but also I've got all this weirdness about me carry from like the breakdown of my family, I guess, and kind of rebuilding that and rebuilding it on my own. I'm very, very happy, but I'm also like really resentful of anybody else's family. So it's like if I see anybody, if I'm invited into somebody else's life enough to see their family, I'm just like, oh, it's gross and the shit. I don't want to be part of this, because it reminds me of something, I guess, that I haven't got anymore. So I keep relationships out here, and even friends. Don't invite me around to your house. I don't want to meet your family. Maybe I'm just maybe it's a part of grief that I'm working through, but I definitely do not want that kind of living together compromise.
No, I don't think I would like that either.
Fuck off.
Yeah, look, our own trauma affects us on a multitude. A lot of people seem to think that our trauma only affects us in a relationship, but actually every single interaction we have with someone is a mirror of something. The way we perceive everything has to do with that. So the healing and the growth in us, it needs to happen before we can perceive things differently. It's simple as that. But I completely relate with what you're saying, and obviously you see it similarly, but we just come from it from a different point of view. I'm like, no, I want nobody near me. Like,
yeah, I've got my kids and my cats. I've got like, it's kind of like I have different people filling different roles. So Stephen is very much there for me emotionally. Like if there was a guy to come in and meet my needs on an emotional level, like it would be weird for me and Stephen. Like I don't, because we're very like, Stephen is there for me completely emotionally in a way that nobody else ever has been, I don't think. And then I have other people then that fill different roles. But partner is for intense connection and good riding. So that's that.
Yeah.
That's that. I'm happy.
I have a whole group of fake boyfriends. I bring them on bro dates and we hang out and we're friendly, but I friend zone faster than anything. It's my superpower.
I do this too. I'm very guilty of this as well. Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything you'd like to add to the interview before we leave?
Live stream gig.
Oh, Jesus, yes.
Yes. So what date did I say? Have we already forgotten?
We set a date just before we started to record this. We set a date. It was the 23rd of May. It is, isn't it?
Fair play to you, it is.
It is.
23rd. So Saturday the 23rd of May, at 8 p.m. Yeah. So if Stephen Crane and Jerry Craig and Alan McLaughlin and Hazard are watching this, they're going to be like, are we really? There's a live stream on the 23rd of May.
Avengers Assemble.
Now we're informing you. There you go now.
Here we are, my first Viking exclusive of the weekend. I'm going to stop recording, so if you want to say goodbye to everyone, and thank you again so much.
Thank you so much. That was a lovely interview. Thank you very much.
That was a lovely chat. Bye-bye.